Hello everyone, good afternoon. We have a new challenge coming here against Mr. I hope I pronounce it right, Arbuz Razval. I think this is actually a Russian term. I think Arbuz in Russian means a watermelon. So, but this we will never know. So we have the so-called symmetrical English. I would say one of the most unambitious and some would say boring openings that white can choose from. But nevertheless, I think black does have some nice chances to put an interesting game here if he would be able to push d5, which I believe I will be able to do because my opponent does not seems to disallow it to me. Okay, so he is deciding to delay the move castling for the moment. I'm not sure actually what does he try to achieve by this, but I will just follow my plan with d5 because I don't see any reason not to. Now you can see that black is nicely expanded in the center. Okay, he took. Now here I have a little bit of a choice. I can take with the pawn and with the knight. Taking with the pawn is a bit more natural because this way I open up my bishop and also I keep my double pawns in the center, so I will choose this one. Also the e-file is now open for my rook potentially in the future. So no reason not to do this. Castle. So finally, move number 10, white decided to castle. Better late than never. Okay, now here, black has many potential ideas, candidate moves. Rook e8, as we've mentioned, one of them. Developing the light square bishop is also an option. The problem with developing the bishop that I don't see at the moment a very good square for this bishop, because if I put it on g4 it would be harassed by h3. On f5 it doesn't do too much. On e6 it also might get harassed with his knight. So I think at the moment I will keep my bishop flexible. Means that I will not develop it right now, but I will see what is going on, and in the future I will decide what to do. Now let's see, where can white's potential play come from? I think it's very much related to the move b2 to b4. So I'm thinking whether to spend the tempo on playing a move such as a5 here, but it's not really threatening b4 at the moment. So let's play b6. I like this move because it gives my bishop some room to develop to on b7 perhaps, sometimes even a6 if needed, but also very importantly it protects the pawn on c5, which means that white will never have some tempos with moves like knight a4 or rook c1. So yeah, so here you go, he is going for rook b1, and his plan is to go b4 and to try to open up some lines on the queen side. So I'm thinking whether I should just ignore it or play this prophylactic move a5, which would at least make this break that much more difficult to achieve. Another option, once again, is just to ignore what he's doing, kind of saying, well, b4 is not such a big deal. Let me play d4 and expand in the center. But I kind of like a5. Let's do it, because other than b4, I don't really see too much plans that white can implement here. So doing this kind of move actually makes life kind of difficult for white in terms of finding a plan. Yeah, rook e1. Now you might notice that this is also an available pawn break that white can do, but this is that much less threatening, at least in my perspective, because once he plays the move e4, the d3 pawn becomes weak, then I can try to attack it maybe. And also I'm not even forced to take on e4. I can even choose to close up the game with a move like d4. So I'm not even a little worried about this possibility. So I think I might just ignore it and keep my development. Perhaps bishop b7. But once again, it's also tempting to keep my flexibility and choose a proper square for this bishop later on. So let's develop the rook. Let's play rook e8. A very useful move anyways. And according to what he's doing, I will decide where my bishop will head to. Because for example, if I will play bishop b7, I'm taking off some options to play maybe bishop a6 in the future. So here you go, he played e4, now I have a very clear target on d3, so it makes much more sense to consider a move like bishop a6 here. The only problem is bishop a6 is, I think, unsound from tactical point of view, because he can take on d5 and he wins some material because of the capture on e8 and then capture on d5. So I think I have to react. d4 is an option, also taking is an option. Well, I think both of them look fairly good for black. But kind of like taking. Let's try taking. Because really white will have to take with the pawn. Yeah, now finally my bishop can be developed, but now I have a very clear idea of where I want it to be. Perhaps a6, d3. My only concern that at some point his move of knight d5 will become an option, but I'm not too worried about this. Let's play bishop a6, let's be consistent with our plan. I believe it's a very important thing. If you started to do something, if you started a sort of a plan or some sort of a direction in your game, you should follow it, unless of course something interrupts it. So bishop g5, I'm not worried about this move because I can just chase this bishop away. I will be very happy if white will take on e7 and will present me with the two bishops advantage. So he is invited to do so, but he decided just to exchange queens, which is nice for me because now my rook can be developed into the game. Probably white will not take on e7. I don't think giving up the bishop is a good idea for him, but he does. I actually expected bishop f4 to be played with the idea to fork me there. Okay, so I think I have to take with the knight. To control the d5 square. Because if I play the move rook takes, then knight d5 could be quite unpleasant. One nice advantage about having the two bishops is that at any point, if I want, I have the option of taking on c3 and inflicting some damage to his pawn structure. I'm not sure I want to do it right now, because the bishop on g7 actually looks like quite a good piece. But this is an option that I have, which he doesn't, because because the knight cannot take the bishop, but the bishop can take the knight. So rook d1, natural move. Now I'm thinking whether should I try to close all of his options on the d file with a move like bishop d3. I can also try to play a move like bishop c4 with the idea to control the d5 square better, also perhaps preparing some bishop b3. And I don't see too much other possibilities. Let's go, yeah, let's try bishop c4. So my idea is maybe on the next move to play bishop b3, attacking the rook on d1, and in this way trying to force him to take me on d8, and then I will gain the control over the open file. That's one of the ideas. Because other than the d file, this one, there aren't really that many good open files for my rook or his. So fighting on this file, I believe, is an important thing to do for me. What can he do? Let's think. Yeah, well, he takes voluntarily. Fine. Bishop f1. So he's trying to exchange the bishops, obviously. Now I have two options. I can once again ignore what he's doing, play a move like bishop b3, keeping the tension. Or I can take on f1, and then I have this nice square to penetrate with my rook, which also seems like definitely like a fair option. I actually like both of these options. Since I'm running a bit low on time, I think I shall just choose by intuition. So I think I'll go with the one which seems kind of at least a bit easier for me to play. Let's go with this. And I think we are going to see mass exchanges here. I will take on c3. On the next move I'll play rook d3, which will be a fork. It will force him to play the move rook e3. I don't see any other way for him to maintain the material balance. And I think that's what I wanted to achieve. Now I think I will just very happily play this endgame, where he has a lot of weaknesses. So he's decided to do a brave thing, to sacrifice a pawn in order to get some activity. Actually, I would say a good option, because the other one, going for the other position, to me seemed like a very depressing option. So actually, he did a very noble thing. Rook b1. So now I have a pawn up, but my pawn on b6 is obviously a bit weak. Knight c8 is an option, but it's terribly passive. So in the end game, I believe it's very important to play actively. This is why I really would like to avoid the move knight c8 if possible. Even though I must say that it's not so easy to find other active moves here. Yeah, perhaps I should have not gone for this sequence of moves, but I will not be complaining about this too much, because this was my choice and I should follow it and try to make the best out of it. It's very important for me to keep the pawn at b6, but once I will play knight c8 and rook d1 is extremely annoying, because he will threaten rook d8. Tough choice there. Another option is to play f6, try and drive away his knight from its active position, but then he will have some forks with a move like knight d7. Yeah, I'm not too happy about my choices here. I don't have a move which appeals to me all that much. Yeah, good choice by my opponent. Let's think. I'm under 2 minutes. I think I will be forced to give up material back at some point. But I want to do it just randomly, but I want to gain some activity at least. Okay, I'll go with knight c8. Not happy about it. Definitely not happy about it. Yeah, and now I was hoping that I will have knight a7, because this was a big threat. He will now play rook d7, of course, and he will fork me. He will take some of my pawns on the king side, but at least my knight might get active. Yeah, I actually missed the fact that he can give this intermediate check, so I'm also about to lose a tempo here. Yeah, he's finding good moves. Now a4, wow. That's a really interesting move. Is it very good though? So he's trying to trap my knight, basically. Simple as that. So a4. What can I do? What can I do? So the only option I see is b5. Trying to play for my passed pawns. Probably is not going to work. Let's try to play b5. Yeah, he will take my knight, of course. I'm trying to count on my passed pawns to do some magic. They probably won't. My opponent's writing something in the chat. So I'm threatening now to play the move c3. He's playing extremely cold-bloodedly. This guy. So he's going for some checkmating net. Apparently not. Knight d3 isn't allowing rook c1. Oh, he's going to take on b2. Jesus. Yeah, tough position. I will gain up the pawn on a4, but I must admit I'm in a completely losing position. His pieces are way too active. Yeah, I'm wondering if this guy is an endgame player. I guess we will only know that after the game. Well, we'll see the statistic. Yeah, e6. Position is garbage, of course. His pawns are just very strong. I'm not sure about his last move though. e6. I will check about this guy later. I kind of like to hunt those cheaters. He didn't play very well at the beginning at all, so I don't think he is a cheater. So he's saying in the check, I'm talking about players that with... Okay, he's obviously using some Google Translate or something. With players of rating of 1600 are played better. I don't know what he wants. But we will know. Yeah, I'm in a losing position. He will go for his king on f6. The king is completely sheltered from any checks. Yeah, I will lose this game. Yeah, king e5 now. Yeah, my pawn. I will resign this game. Let's see who is this guy. So he played so many games and never lost. He never lost a game on lichess. Even though he has only played against low-rated opponent. Let's try to analyze the game. Let's see what kind of moves did he do. Yeah, I think the critical position were somewhere around here in this game. Yes, so I've decided... No, before that, in this position. Yeah, so the engine said that if I just retreat with my bishop on e6, I even think that bishop b3 is quite good. And just, you know, this control over the d1 square is very crucial. He cannot challenge the d file. And I think black is just having a stable advantage here. Engine says minus 0.5. But I took And starting from this point, he started to play extremely well, which makes me wonder a bit. So first of all, not at all obvious moves. Knight e5, just giving up a pawn, which I think is a very strong move. I actually just missed it. And then not rook d1, which would be what I think would be a very natural move, but first rook b1, knight c8. Yeah, now I just made a bad move, knight a7. The engine sided position is just equal if I play king g7, apparently. Yeah, now, yeah, he played this move a4, which is the engine's first move. I'm a bit suspicious, but let's see. Rook d7, first move, well, technically second move by the engine, but doesn't really matter. Then taking on a7. So now this engine is saying knight g4, but his move is very natural. Yeah. A bit suspicious, I have to say. A lot of engine moves right there. I will report this guy, and I will leave it up to lichess to decide whether he is cheater or not. I think he played on a very high level, starting from a certain point. The opening he played, I think, not very well, I would say, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, yeah, I've lost this game, but actually, even if the opponent did cheat, I want you to see that he only managed to win this game because he did not play passively. He always, when he had the chance, he sacrificed the material, went for activity, and it actually granted him the win. So yeah, nice endgame play there by my opponent, or by the engine, who knows. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye bye.